Welcome to The Hidden Truth. We're still pretty new to YouTube, and we're looking to expand our channel. If you enjoy our videos, please consider sharing them on social media or other UFO communities. Your support means everything to us. We have an exciting announcement. We'll be doing a monthly giveaway. All you have to do is like and comment on our videos for the chance to win a variety of prizes, including hats, shirts, and more. The more you like and comment, the greater your chances. Oh, and subscribing doesn't hurt either. What are you waiting for? Smash that like button. You can get free stuff.
1973. Police chief photographs Spaceman from UFO. The year was 1973. The place was Falkville, Alabama. A small-town police chief had a close encounter with some kind of a spaceman. He took photos as proof. On the soft, autumn evening of October 17, 1973, Jeff Greenhow, then 26-year-old chief of police of Falkville, Alabama, was just settling in with his wife for a well-deserved night of rest when he received an emergency call just after 10 p.m. That call would change his life forever. The call was from an nearly hysterical and, to this day, anonymous woman who claimed that an unidentified flying object had landed just outside of town in a field which was owned by Bobby Summerford. Thus begins arguably the second most bizarre case of an alien encounter to come out of the American South in that very same month. Although he was off duty, Greenhow, abiding by his sworn duty to serve and protect, jumped up, snagged his keys, cuffs, revolver, and, almost as an afterthought, his trusty Polaroid camera, on the off chance that there might be something worth taking a shot of. He then hopped in his truck, radioed the calling, and flew to the location of the alleged flying saucer landing. When Greenhow arrived on the scene, he got out of his truck and patrolled the area, but claimed to find nothing out of the ordinary. The chief then returned to his vehicle and decided to take a drive around the field before returning home. Greenhow cruised around the perimeter of Summerford's property, scanning the darkness for anything unusual, but saw nothing of merit in the murky blackness. He then turned down an narrow, gravel path for one final pass. That was when he came face to face with the unthinkable. After traveling down the path for about 100 yards, Greenhow saw an entity that he described as a humanoid figure standing next to the road, about 75 feet away. The chief got out of his truck and carefully approached what he still assumed to be a human being, thinking that it may be someone in need of assistance. Greenhow shouted to his strange companion, but it did not respond. As he got to within 15 feet of the being that was illuminated in his truck's high beams, the chief realized that something was very wrong. The entity appeared to be wearing some kind of silvery, metallic suit that resembled thick aluminum foil. Some reports also indicate that its stature was somewhat childlike or simian, like a monkey in a spacesuit. Greenhow described what he saw. It looked like his head and neck were kind of made together. He was real bright, something like crubbing mercury on nickel, but just as smooth as glass. Different tangles give different lighting. When I saw him standing in the middle of the road, I immediately stopped the car and asked if he was a foreigner, but no sound came out of his mouth. Greenhow also noted that the thing had an antenna sticking out from the top of its head, and that its movements were jerky and mechanical. This necklace, wrinkled skin, antenna bearing, robotic description. Quickly, the shocked Greenhow realized that he was dealing with something unknown, and pushing his panic aside, with years of police training, had the presence of mind to pick up his instant camera and shoot 4 photographs. The first Polaroid shows nothing but darkness and a flash of silver, but the next 3 images hit the jackpot. In the photos, one can clearly see a human-like figure wearing a wrinkly, metallic suit, which is reflecting the flash from the Polaroid's bulb. Perhaps believing that it was being attacked by a human with some kind of light beam weapon, the creature almost instantaneously turned and began sprinting across the field at speeds far in excess of those capable by human beings. Greenhaw noted that it seemed to be heading in the general direction of Lacan, which is about 3 miles away from Falkville. The chief reacted swiftly, ran back to his truck, and took off in pursuit of the metal man. Greenhaw would state that he managed to accelerate his truck only to about 35 miles per hour due to the rough terrain of the field, but that he was still completely outrun by this unusual entity, which seemed to be able to defy the laws of gravity with its speed and spring-like jumps. According to Greenhaw, he ran in a bizarre way, seemed to have springs in the feet for propulsion, could cover about 3 meters in every way. He was running faster than any human eye ever saw. During this frantic off-road pursuit, Greenhaw lost control of his truck and slid into a ditch, at which point he watched as the creature slipped into the darkness, never to be seen again, leaving Greenhaw with only his haunting memories of the event and some controversial photos. Within months of revealing his bizarre encounter, the chief was terminated by the town council. His marriage fell apart, and just when it must have seemed it couldn't get any worse, his home was burned to the ground. All of the above factors have thrown kerosene on the already brightly burning flames of the UFO conspiracy theories surrounding this event, and more to the point, give a clear indication as to why most contactees and eyewitnesses remain silent regarding their unusual experiences. Some ufologists believe that the metal man was a robotic scout for an extraterrestrial landing craft, while skeptics maintain that it was all a hoax perpetrated by Greenhaw and an unknown accomplice who was clad in a tinfoil costume. The images that Greenhaw snapped were collected and sent for analysis by Walt Andrus, a director of MUFON, Mutual UFO Network. Interestingly, the negatives of the Greenhaw pictures that were studied by MUFON seemed to show images of a flying saucer amongst them, although no one ever claimed to have photographed the object initially reported. Perhaps the pictures are from another alleged UFO case, or maybe there's more to this story than has been previously told. While it is virtually impossible to ascertain whether or not it is a real close encounter or a fraud, it seems clear that Chief Greenhaw garnered no financial gain or positive notoriety, even though the encounter has been mentioned in numerous books detailing alleged alien encounters due to his experience, and while he has managed to rebuild some semblance of a normal life, all reports indicate that he continues to regret his encounter with this unknown. To this day, however, Greenhaw and his supporters insist that he had an actual encounter with an alien being. Resources: cryptozoology.fandom.com. My take: the only choices here are 100% hoax or 100% something exotic. Who would have had a robot in 1973 that could outrun a pickup truck? If this was a hoax, Greenhaw paid a hefty price tag. This one is strange, with some holes in it. I can't decide. 1973 Army helicopter in near collision with UFO. A day after Greenhaw's experience, on October 18, 1973, 4 Army Reserve crewmen in a Bell Huey helicopter had an alarming close encounter with a UFO in the vicinity of Mansfield, Ohio. The pilot in command was Captain Lawrence J. Coyne, and the other airmen were Crew Chief Robert Taniksek, co-pilot Arrigo Jesse, and Staff Sergeant John Healy. The Army disposition form, signed by the 4 witnesses, records the incident as follows. Army Helicopter 6815444 was returning from Columbus, Ohio, to Cleveland, Ohio, and at 23:05 hours east, southeast of Mansfield Airport, in the vicinity of Mansfield, Ohio, while flying at an altitude of 2,500 feet and on a heading of 030 degrees. SSG Aniksek observed a red light on the east horizon, 90 degrees to the flight path of the helicopter. Approximately 30 seconds later, SSG Aniksek indicated the object was converging on the helicopter at the same altitude, at an airspeed in excess of 600 knots, and on a mid-air collision heading. CPT Coyne observed the converging object took over the controls of the aircraft and initiated a power descent from 2,500 feet to 1,700 feet to avoid impact with the object. A radio call was initiated to Mansfield Tower, who acknowledged the helicopter and was asked by CPT Coing if there were any high-performance aircraft flying in the vicinity of Mansfield Airport. However, there was no response received from the tower. The crew expected impact from the object. Instead, the object was observed to hesitate momentarily over the helicopter and then slowly continued on a westerly course, accelerating at high rate of speed. Clear west of Mansfield Airport, then turned 45 degrees, heading to the northwest. CPT Coing indicated the altimeter read a 100 feet per minute climb and read 3,500 feet with the collective in the full-down position. The aircraft was returned to 2,500 feet by CPT Coing and flown back to Cleveland, Ohio. The flight plan was closed, and the FAA Flight Service Station notified of the incident. From a speed of 600 miles an hour, it abruptly slowed down to our exact speed of 100 miles an hour and hovered above us, reported Captain Coing. Co-pilot Jesse described the object as cigar-shaped, metallic gray, with a dome on top, and Staff Sergeant Healy added that it was about 60 feet long, without any portholes or intake openings that we could see. At first it was just showing a red light in the nose. Then a green spotlight at the back swept around and shone into our cabin. The radio returned to normal 10 minutes after the incident, having gone completely dead on both UHF and VHF frequencies, just after Coing had established contact with Mansfield Control Tower. Some witnesses on the ground reported seeing the helicopter as well as an object, like a blimp, and as big as a school bus, hovering above the helicopter. When the UFO's green light appeared, it was described by the witnesses as like rays coming down. The helicopter, the trees, the road, everything turned green. Resources above top secret. Timothy Good, 1988. My take. This is an interesting encounter. I wonder if the UFO was actually alien in origin, or was it an ARV? I think it might have been alien, because it stopped and scanned the helicopter. What do you think? Please discuss in the comments below.